Now, start streaming,
Close
start
enough.
recording. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the board meeting to order. This is for July 14th, 2020, 5:15 p.m. for a public hearing on the village court. Roll call, please.
Trustee Burke. Here. Trustee Miller.
Here.
Mayor Jarvis.
Here.
Trustee Dorigo.
Here.
Trustee Fulmer.
Here. Did anybody check that we're on?
Anybody could text me, Critter, or somebody text me if we're running. Public hearing is to consider abolishing the village justice court. This would be a vote for the public, for the village residents. The vote would be in November of 2021.
Say that again?
I thought it was gonna be on
The vote was this November.
this November,
It's gonna be on the ballot this November.
This
November to
For
vote
dissolution
Yeah.
next year.
Right.
when the term's over.
Right.
Yes. It will be, the vote will be this November of 2020 to abolish it in November of 2021.
If I may, just for clarification on this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so under New York village law, the village is not required to have the office of justice court, okay? So if you've got it, and you do, you can abolish it. It's abolished by either a resolution or a local law subject to permissive referendum. And the better way, the preferred way is to use a local law, which is what you have. Now, the key is that you hold your public hearing, which is what you're starting now. At the conclusion of the public hearing, if a majority of the board supports that, then you'd adopt that local law. Now, it's subject to permissive referendum, and so it's not mandatory. So what happens is if it passes this board, then the voters don't vote on it unless a petition is submitted by a requisite number of voters in opposition to that local law.
Within how long after?
30 days. So again, the key is that you're, as the elected officials, you're the ones that have to say on legislatively where you go. The public will continue to have input on this, but only if a petition is submitted in opposition to it. So again, it's not mandatory referendum, it's permissive referendum. I just want to clarify that.
So we've opened up for public concerns now?
It is open for public concerns, yes, sir.
Okay.
So the public can call 315-482-9902 to our telephone here.
Village office. Village office.
Yes, hi. My name is Ajit Berman, and I'm scheduled today to speak for the committee, for the board. But I'm on your website, and how do I get to the video where I can see what's going on?
The video's not running? You can't see the video?
I'm not on the video yet. What I do is I went into your website. They said abay.state123.com, and I see meeting schedule village board for July 14, 2020, 5:15, and it said live stream site. So what do I do?
He wants to be inside?
He wants to go on the site. He
can't
doesn't
get
go
on.
to the village website. He goes
Hello?
on in his
Yeah, hang on, we're
address
trying
bar.
to figure it out here for
Oh,
you.
sorry.
I'm told
I'm not so good with this
I
stuff.
understand.
It's working. I just got a text from,
You have to go to YouTube and put it on.
Maybe you're not.
YouTube?
You know, I get
it's
in.
working.
Go to YouTube?
Go ahead.
Go to YouTube and put it on that way.
I have to go to the YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube.
Oh, So I go to the YouTube and then I'm gonna go to the eBay. Okay, got you. Let me
Okay.
try that one.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
I think that's Jared coming, door lock.
Yeah. You get it, right? Where did he from?
He put state, not
He's
stat,
the one
is
that
what
owns
this guy
Hill's Motor
did.
Court,
Oh, is that who, oh,
I think that's, what's him on it? Is that from Hills?
I think that was
I
Isaac
thought we were
from,
getting a fake call in.
from Hills Motor.
Yeah, that's what you said, yep.
Yep.
Is it abay123.stat.com?
Yes.
Yeah,
He says he got it.
you couldn't get the video, I guess.
I can't get it either.
There's two numbers you're supposed to push when you bring the video up on it.
Critter texted me, he said everything's working fine.
abay123.
Want you to announce that we're still at public hearing for that.
We're still in public hearing for the village court.
How long are we gonna be in that?
Would you have to be 15 minutes?
We have to be 15 minutes, don't we?
No,
No.
your public hearing, you've opened it to seek public comments, and if it takes all 15 minutes, it takes it. If it takes longer, it could take longer, but if there are no comments, the board is free to consider closing the public hearing at that point.
You, I can give you some stats on 2018, 2019 if you want.
What kind of stats?
Huh?
What kind of
How
stats?
much the court cost us
Roughly $30,000.
for the, judges and stuff, 32,400.
Mm-hmm.
And we, took in $9,680. So we lost 22,700 in 2019-20. And then 2017-18, it was 32,400. Court cost us, we took in $7,864. So we lost $24,876. So our court, we're not, I mean, if we were breaking even, I could understand it, but if we're losing that amount of money, it's kind of a lost cause to the court.
Well, we're a tiny village,
Exactly, it's time,
and our town court system can absorb
right?
our tickets and whatnot.
And with all the new stuff going on, the way they're writing tickets and
Mhm.
everything else, I think it's gonna be the way of the future anyway. I think they're gonna tell us we're gonna have to do it.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna have any correspondence. Can we close?
You can make.
I'll make a
I'll make-
motion, we close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Eric, second by trustee Moak to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're gonna go immediately into the regular village board meeting. So we're gonna open this up to public concerns. Public concerns can call 315-482-9902. We'll give them a few minutes on,
Well, may I ask you a question while we're waiting for that? Is this as of May 31st? No,
It's not
we don't
It's
have,
not the end.
June.
we won't have that until the end of the month when we do our AUD.
So this is May through June.
Well, no, this is our new June.
This is
is
just the new,
Yeah,
okay.
this is new, correct. We are still trying to clean up the end of the year. A few more bills that are sliding in, old bills for, one came in for the building, maintenance, on the boilers, a couple other things, so we're just holding off. Give a correct, amount.
Okay, thank you.
so we have no public concerns, we're gonna go into correspondence.
There's Cracker.
You said the other way.
Can you
Village Board members of Alexandria Bay, New York, June 6, 2020. First, let me compliment you on putting your alert for speed on Walton Street. We do not have a lot of speeders on this. We do have a lot of speeders on this street. It would be nice if you could move it up a little as people come around the corner from Holland Street heading to Second Street are usually speeding. Secondly, I would like to ask you to try and recruit a medicine shop into the village. Kenny Drugs do not fill a lot of prescriptions here anymore, and sometimes the wait is 3 days. I recently experienced extreme vertigo. A doctor called in a prescription at 1 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. I had to wait until Sunday after 1 p.m. It was a very unpleasant weekend. This is not the first time this has happened, and in talking to other people in the village, I find that many of us have the same complaint. We have medicine shops in Ogdensburg and I believe Watertown. I have dealt with the one in Ogdensburg and they were very nice. Just a suggestion for things a little easier for the village residents. Thank you for consideration. Carol Shepherd.
Can we make comments on that letter? I think that, you know, what she's getting to is like with the new building down there at where the Monticello is, where the hospital is, that possibly maybe contacting somebody at the hospital, maybe see if they have room in that thing for a medicine shop in there, and maybe put the medicine shop in there. That's what she's looking at.
We did the same thing. We go to Watertown.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
You have to wait for certain medicines, you have to wait 3 days.
I think maybe,
What's the medicine shop?
maybe somebody ought, maybe we ought to,
A pharmacy.
maybe we ought to,
This is the pharmacy.
maybe somebody ought to meet up, and I'll do it if nobody wants to, is meet up with maybe the hospital down there, and with one of the people down there, and see if that's something that could possibly be done.
Yeah.
Could we consider contacting Kenny Drugs corporate also to ask why
Yep.
we're having the problems?
Yep.
We could do that also.
And on the speed sign there, I heard from her about the speed sign, and I've heard from the Pens, and I've heard from other people, and it works two ways. It works really well for people to slow down, and then other people are using it to see how fast they can go. But they've got a lot of compliments on how people have been slowing down on that street. And I know we're really, really tight with a lot of money, and things are tough, but that sign and that stand, well, the speed sign cost $2,900. And I met with the town, and the town was willing to pay for 50% of the sign and buy the trailer to put it on,
For us?
so we could have room. Yes, if we wanted to pay for half of it. So we're talking maybe $1,500. I don't know if it's anything we're interested in or not.
And
I
we
talked
can-
to Josh, and I met with Josh, and I'd like to, I mean, Josh wants to wait until his budget thing comes out at the end of this month and stuff, but he thought it was a good idea too, and he thought maybe if he could come up with maybe even half the money out of the police budget for it. So, it's something we might wanna consider having our own sign, then we can move it around where we want it.
Yeah.
It's solar, we can keep it down in the barn.
I think it's a good idea.
I don't know if that's something you guys,
Jefferson
would,
County Sheriff's Department also said that they have them, they do loan them out. I don't know what their stipulations are, but they have two.
Yeah.
That they do loan out at certain times. That would have to be a different question.
yeah, but,
The sheriff has parked one in my yard
yeah.
several times.
Yeah, Church Street's pretty heavy too.
Yeah, but I think that's very cheap for $1,500.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the trailer.
Yeah, if the village, if the town's willing to put the other half in, I'm for it.
I'll make a motion that we, if the police department can come up with some of the money for it, that we would, purchase the sign, or the speed, I guess you call it speed trap.
Yeah. I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Noel, second by trustee DeRigo, to see if we have the money to pay for half of the speed sign. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed. Trustee Burke.
I think if you can borrow one, I mean, in the wintertime, it's just us around here. As far as speeding, I know in the summertime, yeah, people get going fast on our streets, and we have police officers, and having the sign up does slow people down, but are we gonna put up a sign permanently for like all year long outside? Or are you just gonna put it out like on occasional weekends when it's heavy traffic and you know people are gonna be traveling Walton Street or Church Street a lot? And if the county has something you can borrow, you know,
Yeah, but will they let us borrow it anytime we wanna borrow?
With this would be dedicated to the village.
And
I
And
understand
then we
that.
can put it, we can
Dead
move
of
it all
winter,
around.
is it gonna be sitting out there?
I would put it out there all the time. People
And-
speed on Walton Street all the time. My
And
And
father's
Church
here,
Street too.
my
And-
father's here, and he sits on the porch, and he wants to know where everybody's going so fast.
And the thing is too, when school opens up, we can put it near the school zones.
Yeah.
Cause down Bolton Avenue, you know right now, we've had the problem there before, of people speeding down there when school's open.
Yep.
So if you put it down there, then during school time too, we can use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second letter is, I have a concern about boat trailers that are being parked on Washington Street. They're left there for a week or even 2 weeks, like the one even now. The trailer is wider than the car, so traffic on the street is always delayed to wait for oncoming traffic. There is a trailer with a truck in front of my house right. It comes every year and stays for a week. The house across the street have a difficult time entering and exiting their own driveways. This street is busy, as we all know, with Garlock's Hardware. Wonder if a sign could be there on the street with no trailers parked on that street, and that's from Polly Beers at 5 Washington.
I talked to Polly today too, on this letter when she brought it in. And it's food for thought for next year, because we're already in July. And, we have the walking trail down there, down on Carnegie Bay. Miles of parking down there, right, Jared? We've looked at it, we mow it all down there. Why, and this is probably a question for Jim and, Lee, why couldn't we have something in our ordinance that you can park your trailers on? Because I was reading some of the old amendments. Trailers on the street are up to 24 hours, and after 24 hours, they have to be moved off the street. And if we give them, don't charge them for parking, and just tell them, it's at your own risk, you can park them down there, just park them in the area over where the long grass starts, and just let them keep them down there, because Washington Street is awful. I mean,
It
it's
is.
awful. And for some reason, there was miscommunication, and I did forget to check on it today, but they said that the town said you couldn't park in the parking lot at the skating rink. Well, I think that's wrong. I think it was the parking lot down in Goose Bay, because it was getting overpopulated, and they were leaving all the trailers down there. So they put a 24-hour parking down there, but nobody's ever said anything about no parking at the skating rink.
It was at Goose Bay, 'cause
Yeah.
I watched that meeting.
Yeah, so for now on, if they do call and ask where they can keep trailers, they can put them in the skating rink parking lot. But if we have an overflow, why can't we let them go down there in, Carnegie Bay and leave them down there, get them off the street? I think that's something we might wanna check into this winter, you know, a little bit more, some kind of ordinance, because I did see one boat that's got a sticker on it that's 2019, and then I looked at the trailer, and there's not even a license plate on the trailer, and it's been on the street all summer. So, you know, if there's a case if somebody hits that boat and that trailer, their own insurance is gonna have to cover it, because it's an uninsured trailer. So, it's something that we might have to check into. So, I think that's something we wanna work on this fall.
Can we do something about Washington Street now?
I think by the time we pass the resolution and stuff, the summer's gonna be over, don't you?
Yep.
Because I talked to Josh, and Josh says as long as they're registered and legal year and everything, they're just like a vehicle, they can be on the street.
Yep.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to come up with an ordinance, and then give them a place to put them at least.
Are we doing any hole patching? I mean, Washington Street is really bad. I went to Garlock's the other day and really bottomed out on one side, got out to make sure my tire was okay.
Let me read that ordinance to you from here. you
Okay.
have to notify us before you hit the pothole that
Okay.
if you have any damage to your vehicle, because that's what the
Oh.
ordinance says.
I have no damage, but I was just thinking about the potholes on that street as you're coming in, not as you're, and not after you make the curve, it's right as you come in there.
We have a letter from John B. Lyman, American Legion Post 904. At the June membership meeting, Post 904, a motion was made and passed to ask the village to allow the Post to place a sign at the village docks, letting them know the Post is here to serve veterans. John B. Lyman, American Legion Post 904, has been recognized by the national organization with the Post Excellence Award for the second year in a row. Post 904 was recognized in 2019-2020 for its service to the community, increasing the positive profile of the American Legion, and for its outstanding success in membership recruitment and retention. The Post would like to remind the village board that prior to the formation of the American Legion in New York, a group of World War I veterans in Alexandria Bay formed a veterans service organization called the Great War Veterans of America. That group voted to join the American Legion at its founding in New York. Post 904 has served this community for over 100 years and has led or pioneered many of the efforts of the American Legion, both in the department and nationally. In 1924, the Department of New York American Legion Convention was actually held in Alexandria Bay. John Lyman's mother was both the president of the state of New York and the national president of the Gold Star Mothers of America. The accomplishments of the Scouts, Orators, Boys and Girls Skate Citizen, Junior shooting sports have been impressive for a long time. We are asking for your assistance in increasing our exposure and helping improve our service to the community and membership. The Post will conform to the sign sizes for other not-for-profit organizations that have sign privileges at that location. Thank you in advance for your approval of this request. Respectfully, John B. Lyman, membership.
Did they give a size? Or they didn't give a size?
No.
Where do they want to put it on the bathrooms?
At the village dock.
On the bathroom?
just says
on the
that
wall there? You know, I mean, on the end of the,
Yeah, I
The
think, you know,
back-
where you have I think there's a couple signs.
Oh,
not up the
behind-
village park or anything? They don't want to have
No,
that?
I
Hmm.
don't know.
Well, I think
I know they
anything
put
from,
one up at the arch.
yeah,
I think something like that they were looking to put down on
where
the
more
dock.
people probably are.
Yeah, that big
If that has to be a
signboard down
motion,
there,
I
too.
make a motion that we do that for the
Could we
village.
not possibly?
but I bet they wanna put it right at the end where the customs check-in is on
Yeah,
that wall
yeah.
above the,
I think it's a great idea.
there's a couple of things there, I'll second that motion.
Motion by trustee Millet, second by trustee Palmer, to allow the sign for the Legion at the docks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion fully carried. Next, a letter from the Alexandria Township Historical Society. Dear Mayor Jarvis, trustees, the Alexandria Township Historical Society Board of Trustees, owner and operator of the Cornwall Brothers Store and Museum, extends sincere appreciation for their donation received. Amount of $2,000 as allocated in the 2020 village budget. We are especially grateful for your support as we all face this challenging time for our community. We are planning to open in phase 4 and safely continue our commitment into preserving, sharing history of our river community with visitors, community members, and summer residents. As we are unable to have large group programs, we are in the process of developing an audio tour featuring our docents and volunteers. Visitors will only need a smartphone. Your generosity helps us to fulfill our mission to promote discovery, preservation, education, and exhibition of historical information and artifacts reflected of the village of Alexandria Bay and nearby river communities. We invite you to visit the Cornwall Museum this summer and experience our informative exhibits. Thank you. Please visit to view the fruits of your investments. Judy Keeler, President. Thank you, Judy. Need a motion to approve the minutes from June 9th, 2020, regular meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, seconded by trustee Millet. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to pay the bills, abstracts number 3 and number 4.
I'll make a motion, we, pay abstracts number 3 and 4.
Motion by trustee DeRigo,
I'll second.
second by trustee Fulmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Trustee reports.
Want to do,
Trustee Fulmer?
Well, I'm not quite sure what, Gregor, are you here to discuss the Church Street water project?
Yeah, I have the final over-under change order for the board's consideration. We discussed it at the work session. Was the final over-under adjust the final quantities based on the actual installed quantities, so I have that for the board's consideration tonight, and I also have the final payment application for JL
Close
excavation.
office.
And JL has finished everything, all of the curbing is in on Rockwell Street, so,
What, you want?
I'm sorry.
You wanted, which of
We're interrupted.
that's right, no, as far as, if he could hand out what he has, that would be great. And then, as far as I am aware, they're done everything.
That's,
Correct.
They are finished.
call back in about,
And the other thing to keep in mind, the substantial completion date was the middle of May,
Was it?
May
that
15th.
guy from Hills, about the,
should've took his number when he called that.
So the substantial completion date was the middle of May. That starts the 1-year warranty period. So if anything comes up that's related to the project, just let us know and we can reach out to JL Excavation.
And I had a paper that my printer ran out of ink as I was coming, but I had a summary from Thomas of what we came in on time, under budget, and where were we? About $2,000?
Yeah, I think a
Let me
little less
find
than
it.
2,000 was left in the budget.
Yeah, so we, even with all of the problems that we had, not problems, all of the issues that came up, I mean, we didn't go out of our way to do anything special. But-
2,167.
Look at that, there you go. We came in under budget, as promised. And, all I have on that, and I think the rest of my report is a little later.
Is that all yours? Well, as we know, the golf course isn't open, but I'll tell you, the guys are doing a great job over there. They really are keeping up great, and, we have a donation box up there, and we seem to be doing all right with the donation box. So, I think people like the golf course. That's all I really have.
I know the docks have been filled since, when I go down there and check on things, the rubbish is being picked up, quite a bit now, so there's no backlog on the rubbish hanging out of the trash cans. So, that's all I got.
At our meeting today, at the streetscape meeting, that was one of our big topics, is the garbage cans down at the village dock at that end. And they are gonna specifically make sure pizza boxes can fit it on.
Now, you got an idea about any amount of donations we got or anything?
Golf course is doing better.
The golf course is really, really doing well on donations. The docks are doing very, very poor on donations.
Okay.
I won't give you actual figures.
That's fine.
Yeah,
So everybody knows out there what's going on.
Yes, unfortunately, our
Before we
voting
go-
clientele isn't
Did you
being
put,
very generous.
They're spending more on booze.
did you put that on there about the season passes?
I did not,
Can I say one more thing about my golf, the golf course? What do we have, 3 passes, season passes?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. We had one person call and wanted their money back. And I told Molly, I said, you know, the best thing to do, we got 4 passes, 3 or 4. The best thing to do is send the money back to them on all 3 or 4 of them. If they want to donate the money back, they can donate the money back. We had one of them that did that, but she has to send money to one of them this week, 2 weeks from now, they'll go and so say, well, I got my money, call them, they'll get their money. So I think that we ought to just send the money back to all 4 of them.
They were Christmas, Christmas.
Christmas,
People
yeah.
come in
Yeah,
for
that's-
their
Do I-
certificates.
Do I have to make that a motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to make that a motion that we return all the season passes for this year.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Millet, second by trustee DeRigo to return 4 season
Well,
passes.
we'll say 3 to 4. I think.
3 to 4.
Yeah.
Of the season passes for the golf, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We could put a note with it that, you know, thank you, but. I'm sorry, Julie, I jumped in front of you. You're up
Oh,
now.
that's okay, I don't have anything to report on right now.
Trustee Yurt?
I just said I don't have anything to report on right now.
Hi, Jarrett.
Hello, Mayor.
How you doing?
As we all know, we've been busy. We pulled sidewalks after sidewalks. We just pulled another one for Garlox today. We had the sweeper down for almost 2 weeks, and Steve found us a tire down in Syracuse. So we actually got the sweeper back up and running, but now we have 3 dump trucks down. We did get one back up and going out of the bunch. But we've just been staying busy, just trying to get equipment put back together and, pulling sidewalks, is what we've been doing. So, been keeping the park clean, we got a guy that goes down in the morning, takes care of the beach, makes sure that everything's picked up. We just, again, we've just been trying to make sure that everything stays clean, and, we're dealing with the COVID the way we should be.
Last Thursday, Mr. Fiacco came and got all this equipment off Casino Island.
Yep.
Friday morning, they went and washed the wall off, mowed it, trimmed it, and everything, and last Friday, we got it open for the weekend, which virtually the second you opened it up, it was, people were going across the bridge. They were just so happy. It's been almost 4 years since it was open.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people were very happy that it's finally open.
And the new piece of equipment that a lot of people complained about, that they got, that takes out sidewalks. I think my sidewalk was what, 260 feet long?
Yeah.
They took my sidewalk out in one day, and cut the driveway out so that they could pour the driveway. They did a fantastic job, and I had Newberry's come in and do the cement and stuff, and my sidewalk from Kay Doheny's to my house looks just like Church Street now. I mean, they graded off, but the grass seed and everything looks great. And the DPW did a fantastic job, and my neighbor said, what is that noise out there? She calls me on the phone, and that was the guys out there with the saw. It's 6:15 in the morning cutting the driveway. I said, these guys don't monkey around, they get out there. Yep, a great job, you know that.
Very nice.
If I could also just make a comment, I think next year, when we're in budget time, Molly, I think it's the time, I mean, we have we have asset management plans, and in there they address vehicles and equipment, and I think that's the time when we have to collectively sit there and get suggestions from him and, you know, the water department and the sewer department and the police department, and what we need and what we should be trading in, because, you know, and I get it, we have a water department truck that needs about $4,000 worth of work, and truck's worth about $4,000, so we have to get in a cycle of maybe every other year doing some of that, but that's something that we should,
Well, I
as a
think-
board, plan for.
I think that with this new management plan we got, I think we're gonna be on the right
Yeah.
line.
So we have to just remember to do that next
Yeah.
year.
Okay. Lee, zoning report, sir.
I had a couple complaints here within the last month, maybe 6 weeks. One of them deals with 53 Church Street. I sent them a nice cordial letter on May 27th, no response. I sent another letter back July 1st, and not quite so nice, and told them that the village court was open, that if they didn't want to comply, we could make a trip up there. So I will give them maybe another week, and then I'll send the order to remedy the violation. Unlicensed boats and trailers up there. The cars were removed that were not licensed with it. Had another complaint on Rockwell Street from a resident. One was grass, I told him to get a hold of Steve. The other one was about an abandoned truck. I asked the person to send me the address so I could issue a letter, never got a response back. So that's kind of up in the air with that part.
On Rockwell Street,
Do you need the address?
Yes,
Oh,
that
then-
truck's been removed.
It's gone.
okay,
Oh, it's done.
okay. The other thing, we do have the comp plan, the final thing printed, and I got it run off. You do have a draft with it. This is about 20 months worth of work. Whoops, sorry, Steve.
That's okay, thank you, sir.
You're not gonna read all this tonight, are you? Leave it to us.
I'm a very slow reader, no.
Thank you.
'Cause we just went through this about an hour ago.
It was painful.
And, so now, after the committee spent the period of time on it to update this, really the ball's in the trustees' court now to implement, any changes in there through various committees and stuff. What happens so many times when we do comp plans, they sit there and neglect us. And it's a lot of time wasted, but the committees put a lot of time and effort into it, and I realized the trustees had approved it, or adopted it, I should say, and so that's where we are with it. That's all that I have.
I have a question. Is this where we had the discussion about changing parking on James Street instead of pulling in, having people back up?
That was one of the comments in there, yes.
We should look at that before we finish streetscape, because instead of pulling in at an angle, they fixed it so they, I don't know if we just wanna look at it.
Yeah, we went, remember when we did that walk downtown
Mm-hmm.
there, that was a good way to do that, so. we'll-
I don't know if anybody thought that was a good idea to change that parking that way.
No, I can't remember, but we'll look it over. What do we gotta do on this now? We just
Well,
come over and check it? and see?
There are recommendations in there, short-term, intermediate, and long-term. Undoubtedly, long-term, you know, it'd be 2 to 3 years, it may need some type of funding, with it. There's some short-term objectives in there that deal with zoning and stuff that can be done within a year or two. But now it's the trustees' responsibility to go through this and set up, let's just say, a zoning committee, look at the zoning ordinance. Or look at the long-range plans, you know, with that. I think with your streetscape thing, some of these things in this long-range thing may be very pertinent.
He's suggesting that we use it for more than a doorstop.
I know, I did one of these before, when I was a code officer. But.
There's a lot of good
but, I
suggestions
mean,
in here.
Is there a timeline that we have to make a decision?
No, there's no timeline, but I just,
But we
just
don't
don't forget
wanna-
about it.
But we don't wanna drag our feet.
We don't want to let it go.
I think in the last chapter, the very last, chapter 8, there's the short-term, intermediate, and long-range, recommended actions, with it. So,
Good.
which will probably be the starting point, I would say.
Yeah, right there, okay. All right. Yeah, we definitely need some change to
Yeah,
our
We
bylaws.
should do that over the winter.
well, I think that we should get it going and then right
Mhm.
after Labor Day, start doing some decisions.
Well, I meant,
Yeah.
yes.
And anything, recommendations, I mean, it comes back to you folks, then I have to send it to the county, because we're amending the ordinance of some proportion, you know.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Thank you. Police report. Police department had 57 complaints, 1 arrest, 7 vehicle and traffic violations, 22 building checks, and 7 parking tickets. Respectfully, Joshua David, officer in charge.
Is the police vehicle up and running yet? The new one?
He's
No.
still waiting for some equipment. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna add, they're just getting the, DMV so we can get license plates on it. That was back and forth.
Right.
And then the equipment, he expects within a month to get it to Syracuse for equipment, because a lot of it was back ordered because of COVID.
Well, DMV being closed down and stuff really screwed things up. I mean, it's not their fault, but you had to do everything, if anything new was really hard to do.
I did speak with DMV today. They have all the paperwork, and we'll get it out there tomorrow, and we should have the plates back, for 2 vehicles, by Friday, so. We're moving forward.
If that guy calls in one more, again, can we just skip and go to him? Cause
Yeah.
he's called 3 times.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to old business, Justice Court.
Do we have to make any motion on that? I just put it in there because of, making the motions today. Do we have to do anything else with that, Mr. Burrows?
Yeah, it's a proposed local law. So if the village board is inclined to adopt the legislation, then you'd introduce it, second, and then discussion, and then you could call the vote if you're in favor of it.
So all we really have to do is make a motion on what we've talked about earlier, if we wanna go ahead and dissolve the court.
Yeah, again, so your public hearing is the opportunity for the public to provide meaningful input, in addition to whatever input you receive in the community. But now, it's potential legislation, you've not adopted it, it's not been voted, and if it's approved by a majority of the board, then what happens is I'll work with the village clerk for the publishing, and it creates a 30-day window, and then if members of the public are opposed to it, so long as the appropriate petition is submitted to Molly as our village clerk within the 30-day window, if it's the requisite number of people, et cetera, then what happens is then it would be on the ballot in November for a vote. Now, if there is no petition that meets the qualifications that's submitted, the legislation that you have would become effective December 1, 2021. So everything stays the way it is until the very earliest of December 1st, 2021.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead with the resolution to dissolve the court.
I'll second that.
Motion made by trustee Millet, second by trustee Erk, to proceed with the resolution to dissolve the village court. That's a roll call vote.
Trustee Palmer?
Yes.
Trustee Millet?
Yes.
Mayor Jarvis?
Yes.
Trustee Driego?
Here, yes.
Trustee Erk?
Yes.
Anything else with the resolution?
I think so. I think it's all up to them now.
Casino Island ramp?
Let me
Yes.
start, first, before we start on Casino Island ramp, do we have to have a vote for him, whatever he needs signed?
Who?
Gregor brought for Church Street.
It's in the,
There's
in the new
Alright,
business.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, village office,
Hey, that's a good time now, shift is still debating
Okay,
there, so wait
yeah.
a little bit more.
go ahead,
Sorry?
go ahead.
Okay.
Gotta turn the computer off.
No, you gotta turn your computer down.
Hello?
Yeah, turn your computer down.
Did he hang up?
Yeah, he's changed.
Who was it?
That guy from Motor
Hills.
Hills. He's a pain.
Okay, I apologize for that, I didn't see that down below, but,
Well, if he's listening to us, if he calls us back, you gotta turn your computer down, we can't hear you.
I'll go in the room. So who is Casino Island ramp? Is that you, Gregor?
Yes, that would be me. We talked about the proposal that was received last week. I've talked to TJ Fiacco. He is working on a revision to that proposal. He didn't have it ready for this board meeting, but, indicated that he would be getting a revised proposal, for the board's consideration. The proposal that I discussed last week was around, or approximately $155,000. And it didn't include the railings, so that would have been in addition to that proposal. I was
On the
hoping I
finished
had,
product.
which is more than what you have remaining for that project. I was hoping to have a revised proposal tonight, but unfortunately, he didn't have a chance to get it together. So at this point, we're in a holding pattern. The funding is active through the end of November, is my understanding, for the community development block grant. I asked Tim to be here tonight. There are a few items that have to be addressed on the island too. Tim's had a couple of discussions with TJ, or Buddy Fiacco, regarding that. It's my understanding that he'll be back after Labor Day to address the punch list items, the items that are remaining, which includes some restoration. I think that was a question at the work session, if you would come back and complete the restoration after the summer's over. And the other items, there's some loose or cracks on the top of the wall that he's gonna address. And there's one rock missing, or,
Some of the board members are aware of the one big rock that came out of the wall on the northeast end of it, and that's also on the list of the Labor Day or after to take care of.
So what do we?
I confirmed with him again today, and I asked him if it was safe to tell the village board that they will be back in the fall and on that, and to take care of the list, which is the stones that have not been put back. Some they loosened up with the barge when they were working out there. Some they loosened up when they were doing the restoration. There are still cracks in the top surface that need to be addressed, and obviously the big stone that came out of the end, and he told me, he immediately responded, yes.
I have your other text that says there will be no fee also
And
to come
also,
back and,
no additional cost for them to come back later and finish that when the water goes down, excuse me, and the busy season is over.
what are we holding, 88,000?
there is approximately 30,000.
Okay,
There's approximately 15,000 left in retainage and 15,000 approximately in work. So I think it's around 30,000 that remains
Oh,
in that
Billy.
contract,
Hang on a
Okay.
second, buddy.
which is more than enough if you had
Billy
to
Gill.
have someone else
Billy
do
Gill.
some work.
Billy Gill,
Billy Gill, one,
and what
hang
happens
on a second. We're in
if
between.
we can't,
tell him, hold on a minute.
if his numbers to do the ramp are too high, and can we
Hang on one second.
have somebody else do it?
There's an option, as we discussed before, about, you could actually bid that again, but there would be some additional time and, expenditures associated with doing that. Essentially, you'd have to have a bid package, just like you did for the original project, which would include bidding documents, specifications.
That'll eat up all that money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
big-
portion of it.
Yeah.
It'd be what, 25, 30,000 to rebid it and everything?
Yeah, I didn't develop that for the board for
But
tonight,
can
but
we-
there would be a cost associated with rebidding.
Could the village use that money and have DPW, our own DPW, go and put the money towards, us figuring out how to fix that steep,
Yeah, it's definitely an option that we
that
could
the
look
money
at.
could be
There's,
used to pay, buy the material and
Sure.
do it that way?
we could talk to the funding agency just to
Mhm.
make sure that's okay, but as far as I know, that could be a possibility.
So what happens to the money if we don't use it?
If you don't use it, it goes back.
You lose it.
We'll figure that with the DPW.
Prevailing wages.
Not if the DPW
Not
has
if
it.
DPW does it?
Correct.
I think that might be the best answer.
Yeah, if the board would like, I can confirm that and let
Right.
everyone know.
Yeah.
Well, I think we wanna check both options, because if
Yes.
he's gonna give us a bid on it, we're probably not gonna do anything until after Labor Day now, right?
Right, but he
Correct.
was already over $140,000.
Yeah, I know, but he's gonna rebid it, didn't he
He's-
say?
No, we're not gonna revisit.
He's going
That-
to
he's-
give us a new price.
He's gonna give us a new
Yeah.
price,
Yeah, but
yes.
it's still higher than what we can afford.
Yeah,
Okay.
But he's gonna give us a
Redo
new
it.
price.
He's gonna
Okay.
give us a new one.
Mhm.
So I'll keep the board informed on both the new proposal, revised proposal, and I'll check on
Because you can't stretch Jared out anymore during the summer.
No, no, you
We
didn't do
still have
anything.
these this summer, well, that's be before November.
Yeah, it has to be before November.
Can we, take that phone call, cause we told this guy to call at 6 o'clock, and then come back to you?
Billy Go.
That's Billy Go.
Alright.
He's like, I don't have anything left to say.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
Billy?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
well, have you guys got that paperwork in front of you for JP3?
Should've asked her, that's where I could've seen it.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah,
Yep,
go ahead.
we're
Yeah,
listening now.
Yeah, we're just, we're getting the paperwork out.
Oh, okay. Let me know when you got all that in front of you, and we'll talk about it.
I don't have the paperwork, Molly.
It's in there, the under new business, open
Is
in the
that
back of it. After,
Did you give it to all of us, or just?
Jay, no?
what was this, PJ Marina?
Yeah, PJ Marina.
JP Marina.
Yeah,
That was
JP
old
Marina.
business, this is new business.
Put your hand on
It was in there, cause I looked at it,
it. Did you?
yes, when I was sitting here, 2 minutes ago, or
JL.
when, right before it started.
JL, JL,
What do you guys look good over there?
It
JL.
was right after, it was in the packet right after, Pat Simpson's
Oh, we mixed
big
up on
long
that.
thing about,
Is it mixed up,
Can I just look?
Yep.
Should be right after that.
Oh, it's right here. It was in this. So they wanna put a sign on the front, the river side of the building?
Yes. If you're standing on a gas stop, it would be right on that face of the building. It's on the top of the building, not on the front of the building. Right on the top of it.
Yeah, so sign on top of it.
Okay, so,
So it's, 2 foot, 5 inches by, 6 foot?
Yeah, the message center is 4 feet by 12 feet. That's the big square portion that is changeable at length, that does all the things the message center does. And then the little half oval on the top of it that says JP, that's gonna rotate right around in circles. I don't know if you've ever seen a sign that does that. It spins, it makes a rotation every 8 seconds.
Oh, okay.
okay, so I don't know where we're talking about. If we're
Yeah,
standing
just
on
at
the
the
village dock, I am looking left at JP Marine, and it's gonna be on top of the building?
Yes,
Facing horizon?
no, it's across the harbor from Horizon.
Yes, but is it
It's
gonna
gonna be
face
facing,
it?
it's gonna be
Sign-
facing, it's village dock, it's gonna be facing the village dock, right?
Correct, yeah.
Right, it's gonna be facing the village dock, that building's there, and he's gonna put it up on top, and it's gonna be facing the village dock and towards, Chavasy.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, towards Shasta,
Right.
not towards the hills.
no, it's gonna be right dead center and heading towards Chavasy.
Yeah, it's Dave Rogers' old
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we're just trying to make sure, can I see that, please? Okay.
It's big time.
Alright,
It's right, got lights on now. Is the whole thing gonna be, how bright is it gonna be?
I'm sorry,
how bright is it gonna be? Is it gonna be like, the sign that's on the downtown?
it is, everything on it is adjustable. and it can be made to be whatever the people want it to be. You can dim it right down so you can barely see it all the way up to where it would blind you.
Okay,
The settings are whatever you guys will allow. I mean, he's open to whatever you guys tell him.
No, could that be programmed to, turn down low after he closes at night?
Yes, definitely. The sign is, all of these signs are on a scheduler.
Yep.
You can tell it to do whatever you want it to do at 6 AM, and you can tell it to do whatever you want it to do at 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And it's automatic, it's right on a computerized scheduler. And it just takes care of itself.
There
But
any other
if
lighting?
you guys have got stipulations, like if you'd like it dimmed at whatever, 8 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock at night,
right.
it can be put right in the scheduler and it just does it every day.
How come
Okay.
Jeff B has a sign that big?
I don't know, how big's Mike's across? Did you do Mike's across the bay?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Did you do Mike's sign across the bay at Horizon?
yeah, on the
Yeah.
corner, yeah, he did
How big's that one?
I didn't hear you again.
How big is Mike's sign on the corner there, where you put it out front there? How big is that sign?
That sign's 20, the message center, you mean?
Yeah.
The message center is, 4.5 feet tall by 15 feet long.
Yeah, it's bigger, that's,
Yeah,
They're
that's big.
pretty close to size.
yeah.
Well, you don't have an anti-signer.
Yeah, but you've already let everyone in
Yeah,
know
it's
that
too
have
late.
signs like it, I can tell them for.
Yeah, you
No.
can't tell
Oh, I
them
know,
that, huh?
no, I'm just telling you, you don't have an anti-signer.
I mean, I almost fell over when I saw Shaughnessy sign. I don't know when that was done, a couple of years ago?
We just finished it up. All right, we're gonna vote on this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, you gotta get a motion first.
I'll make a motion that we accept the plans for JP Marina.
Sign.
Sign.
Motion by
With some
trustee,
stipulations on,
With
turning
the-
it, with turning it up.
We're
and
turning it
down
up and turning it down, during, morning and night.
Yeah.
Okay,
Would someone that all be made right out in a written something, so we know what we're doing?
What did we make?
yeah, we can work with you, Billy, on it and go down there at night and see, and go from there. We can do something like that.
Should be consistent
Okay.
with what
Right.
we've done with other.
Like I said, he's open to whatever you guys
Yeah.
suggest.
No, we feel if
We
it's
can-
too bright at night, then we can tell them the time to turn it down.
Yep.
Okay,
we did the same with, River Edge
River Edge and
and Bonnie
Bonnie
Castle.
Castle. So you have a motion to allow the sign to go up with stipulation for dimmage, either
mhm.
morning or night, and
Right.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by trustee DeRigo, second by trustee Fulmer, to approve JP sign with stipulation on brightness and dimming.
We'll put on their stipulations of the village, the brightness
In time.
And Bill, tell him that
Yeah, go ahead.
they have to come in and pay for the sign permit also.
Say that again.
They gotta come in and pay for the sign permit.
Yeah, I'll do all that stuff.
Okay,
we gotta vote on
What,
it.
can I come any day or?
You better vote.
Very-
All in favor?
yeah.
Aye.
We're getting a vote on it.
Motion
Okay.
carried.
Tomorrow's fine.
Okay, yeah, just stop down and see Molly tomorrow. You're good, Billy.
Is that all we gotta do?
You're good.
We're done.
You're done.
You're a computer expert now, you're on the
You
computer.
you got another job now. We gotta keep you busy. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Bye.
all right, next,
Where was he on there?
that was number 5.
He was number 6 on new business.
I only got
Number 6.
five.
Okay.
I only
I
got
don't
a
have
five.
number six.
I only got a 5.
On
Yeah.
We
your-
got a
Yeah,
6
you're
and we
all
got
done.
7, oh boy,
Here we go, this is number 4 on.
We have to, number 3 is it?
Village office.
Okay, spike to them now, do you know?
Yeah, you gotta turn down your computer, or go in another room or outside, because you're getting all the feedback.
This room is too cold, because I can
Listen to me. You gotta turn your computer down or go outside. You're getting the feedback, we can't hear you. Alright, so either turn the computer down or go outside so you're not getting feedback.
Brad, yeah.
Alright, is that, let me put you on speakerphone. Try it.
How about now?
No.
No, that's not, no, we're
Where's
still
the
getting
doors?
feedback. You know, until he's outside, he's still getting some feedback.
You must have one of those old cell phones.
Can he call from
Okay, hang
a,
on.
can he call from a landline?
Yeah, right next to the computer.
Tell him to drive up here and
You're gonna,
talk to the
you're gonna get another phone, he says.
Or call from a landline?
That sounds bad.
You're gonna call from a landline?
What number is this that when?
You're on the landline right now?
He's supposed to be nuts.
Another one.
Okay.
To code this. Let me see another one.
That's better.
That's better, hang on. Yep, okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we go. Yep, go ahead.
Just like the commercial.
Okay, so my name is, can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Rajiv Berman regarding the hill, Motorcourt and Marina. And I had a situation that I had a leak which was under the docks, and it took us some time to discover it. We finally, one of the ladies that works here, she heard the hissing, and we called a plumber, and there was a leak that goes into the river. My water bill was very high, and we had to replace the line.
Water bill.
So I was asking for relief on waste water, the sewer bill, and I guess you guys went to meeting and I wasn't attending it because I was in Canada at the time and they put us in isolation and quarantine. They're more strict over there, I guess, so I couldn't come here, and I finally made it here, and then I realized that I was rejected. So I'd like to appeal the decision.
You're asking for an appeal on a decision from the water bill?
Yes, the water bill was almost $1,000. It was not realistic at all, and it definitely indicates a leak. However, I brought a letter from the plumber that fixed it.
Well,
I brought some pictures that shows where the leak was, which was under the dock, and obviously one couldn't be traced. It was been leaking there probably for a while. And just because the bill was so high, we realized there's something wrong, but we couldn't find the leak regardless, until somebody that younger than me, that could hear better, traced it under the docks. And you guys, for some reason, when we had a meeting the last time, without me attending it and explain the situation, although I provided all the documents from the plumber, I have an affidavit here from guest, and well, they saw us doing the work, put it this way. I got pictures, I got everything, and I got the lady that works here that she realized where the leak, we couldn't figure where the leak was. So more than 3 or 4 people saw the leak. You guys claim that in your decision to reject it, that I had to call the town. I didn't know that. I didn't figure this is going to be a step that I have to take. It just makes no sense. Because,
the village,
we have pictures and we have the plumber affidavit and a copy of the bill and more than 3 or 4 witnesses. And that's the reason why I'm trying to overturn the decision.
no, the village board has reviewed it, and you're getting charged for the water, but your sewer is gonna be adjusted as,
I can't hear you clear. Sorry.
that's what we
Can
voted
I switch
for.
phones?
The sewer,
Let me see if I can switch the phone.
No.
Okay.
it was totally
I'm
denied.
gonna get another phone, 1 second.
Okay, so,
Move the phone closer to you.
Let's keep talking on that. Keep it up.
hello. Okay.
You can't vote if
So
there's noise on it.
the village board has made its decision, and it's gonna stand as it is.
It wasn't this one that was over 2 years, 2-year time period?
It, at least one time, and then it happened
Yes, it
next
is.
winter also. This fall, right, this October.
Molly,
We-
when our next water
it's-
bill goes out.
It was in the last decision, and it's gonna stand as it is.
You have a lease and we can call the village as soon as
We gave you the explanation when we responded back from the last time.
you know, we say yes to this one, and we just have to say yes.
What's notified, correct.
But if
That's our
people don't
decision,
know,
yes.
or if we get new customers that sign up for water, we can make it very clear to them, you know, well,
That's,
it happens,
that's the
if it
decision, sir.
happens, we need to get over the
There's no argument with this, okay?
village trustees,
All right, sir.
DPW, and make it
Thank you.
well aware of what's happening.
There.
He
Thank you.
never notified us timely.
No, he didn't. So that stands as is. Sorry about that, Gregor. Let's get back to number 3, the project budget.
Project budget report.
So, I think we discussed the Church Street budget. It's, there's around approximately 2,000 lots in that budget. And Casino Island, we have approximately 140,000 remaining in that budget.
107, isn't it?
107.
You've
Plus
spent-
the,
Holding.
yeah, we have 30,000 we're holding. But I think total
That
everything
field, is
remaining.
that under field allowance?
There's field allowance that hasn't been used, and there was some contingency left in the project. I think everything in is approximately 140,000.
Well, okay, this says total project with a leftover, it's remaining balance 107,635.
Yeah, so that's the contingency. There was also a field directive or field allowance as part of the contract that, has not been used. So
Okay.
with that included,
Will that get used on us with something at the end without putting it into this bid?
so right now, we don't anticipate having to use it for anything. It could be put towards the ramp if you decide to do that.
Because everything that they have to do there, Fiaco, is already in the pricing.
Correct.
We're not paying anything
The only
extra.
thing left would be the ramp that we,
Right, to be the ramp.
Right.
And I think he's gonna come in too high, we're gonna end up doing something.
I do too, but
Okay.
Do you have any other discussions?
No, at the work session, we talked about the Ready project. We're working on the design, that'll probably be approximately 8 weeks to have the, 60% design complete. And once that's complete, we can start working on permitting, and that'll take some time. But along the way, we'll have some updates and maybe some work sessions to just give updates to the board and let everyone see what's going on.
So, when we have our next meeting and you bring photos, we had a meeting today on streetscape and sat there and said, what? You know, for Scenic View Park and this building, they wanted to do all the sidewalks and part of the, I mean,
unbelievable.
we
Way
just like sat there and said, that is not what we want. So, that's, I mean, I don't know who directed them to do what they did, the engineer for the town, but you stay on task, you do a much better job than they did today, because that was so far off, it was pathetic.
I mean, we wanted the front of the sidewalks out here right there. They did all the way around the whole building,
Yep.
up
Something,
the street.
oh,
I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, the monies that they had out there that we had never even mentioned.
and what they did talk about on, which is ready, when, from the pavilion to the little building where the bathroom, not the bathroom, where the, office is for the beach, they did a switchback sidewalk circle loop that then did a ramp to the bridge for Casino Island. And Thomas said that that would tie into where you're doing ready sidewalk. And didn't you talk about doing sidewalk down to the bridge?
Yes, we talked about doing, or replacing sidewalk from the bridge up towards the pavilion and then back down
Going across
towards
to the
Riverwalk.
water plant up, wasn't it?
No, that,
Not the water plant,
no,
not
no,
this
the
one.
water
No, I
plant
mean
is,
from Casino Island, right straight across, towards the towards.
Yeah, Casino Island where the bridge is,
To the water.
towards the pavilion,
Toward the pavilion.
you know, and then from the pavilion down to the Riverwalk. And then we also had the lift,
Off at the wharf.
you know, the lift that's gonna be on the wharf, and then that's gonna connect into the sidewalk system into the pavilion.
Now, that's
We may
already,
have to-
that's already,
That's part of the Ready
That's Ready.
project.
We may
Okay.
have to take, if we do Ready, we may have to take Ready funding to get from the sidewalk that the streetscape's doing on Fuller over to the bridge. Straight, you know, it was,
you'd have got tired out walking on their sidewalks from the,
and they totally bypassed
up to
the
the pavilion down to the park.
Jeez.
The main idea was to get people, and the children off the street on their way from, you know, town
Beach, yeah.
to the beach. It was absurd. And his whole thing was, well, we're tying into the Ready thing, sidewalk. And I'm like, I don't think so. So, okay.
Yeah, so we've had a few scoping meetings and we've talked through, and I think everything that the board wanted has been included in the Ready report. But as we get some of the details, we should have another work session just to
Yeah.
give the board an update and see if you have any feedback.
The funny part of all of this is that who was asked whether or not we could move the wharf? Have you heard that?
Yeah, we did.
That was so funny.
There was a question that came up about that.
Can we move the wharf?
We're like,
Yeah. That was the, can we move the wharf? That was a good one.
Not easily.
No?
Yeah. All right, that's all I have. Do you have anything else?
I have one question.
Sure.
The pay app for J and L, the $58,300.57 that we're going to pay, is this the last pay?
This is the last payment,
Okay.
and a majority of that is retainage.
Yep.
So along the way, every payment, we retain 5%. So
Okay.
a majority of that payment is actually retainage from previous payments.
So I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of it.
Do we have to
Yes.
vote on that?
You have to approve the mayor to sign it when we get there. I just wanted to ask that question.
Yes.
It is the last one.
Correct.
Okay. That's- So I know where I stand.
New business.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Anything else, Greg? Tim?
I think that's it, unless the board has any questions or comments.
Okay, so go home and have dinner now.
Okay, well, thank you.
I
I heard that.
We'll take,
Leftovers.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, have
Thank
a good
you.
night, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you.
Thanks,
Hey, we'll
Tim.
see you
Thanks,
later.
Greg. Number 5 is EFPR report from June 30th. Everybody got a copy?
Everyone received a copy, correct?
Somewhere's there, a copy. I think it got moved. New business, number 1 is hire trade music for docks, DPW, and park attendant at $16.22 retro to June 9th, 2020. And hire Merrick Thomas as of June 9th, 2020 at $15.22 per hour as golf course laborer.
I make a motion that we make that retroactive as of June 9th.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Why the pay difference?
Because he's union, working with Jared at the barn, and it's mandatory.
Okay.
And
And
Bud,
the other
and
one,
Bud got a raise too, but
Okay.
that's what it is at the golf course.
okay.
And I
Golf
gotta
course
tell
is
you,
separate,
that
seasonal.
Trey, like, my sidewalks were being done and stuff, and he went by on a Sunday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he seen me out there moving stuff around, and he stopped and picked the stuff up that was in the village and put it on that truck and took it with him. I mean, 'cause I was moving it and putting it in the yard, he said, I'll take that one. I mean, he's doing something all the time.
He was bucking for that job for 2 years.
Yeah, he's doing good for you, Jared, I know he is.
He is, we're leading them good.
Motion by trustee Millet,
I'll second.
second by trustee Erk. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 2 is to appoint Roderick Tidd to the Alexandria Bay Housing Authority Board.
Rod came to our first, board meeting for the, Gordon's Court, and, I tell you, he had a lot of input as just a person there, as an invited guest, and he is very interested in being on the board, and I think, you know, living so close to Gordon's Court and stuff, I think he's gonna be a big asset. I think that we should put him on the board, and the rest of the board that was there they thought he was working well with him. So I'd like to make a motion to put him on the board.
Although,
It's hard to get board members for that anyway.
Motion by trustee Millet, second by trustee Erb, to appoint Rod Tidd to the Alexandria Bay Housing Authority Board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Yes.
In reference to the Gordon Court, the village has to appoint someone as the,
chair.
liaison.
not the word liaison, it's.
Yeah, that thing that they ask about.
Yes,
It's similar to a liaison. What is it called, John? Somebody that's gotta be off the village board that can't be a voting member. They had some special name for it,
they did, shoot.
and that comes from rural development.
Yeah, rural development. So what it is it's, someone like a board member who would, it's like a commissioner of something.
Intermediary?
Shoot.
Well, the reason is because it's not our monies, but it's our monies.
Mhm.
And we can't just have citizens that are off the street that are doing a great job.
They need oversight.
They need somebody that's an elected official to be
I'm gonna find that.
not on their board, but be like a liaison, whatever that term is, so.
Excuse me one second, I can get it. Carry on.
Collaborator.
Is that the last vacancy on the board?
That will be the last vacancy, and then they're gonna come up with, at their next meeting, which is in September, they're going to term them, the 5 members. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. They've already picked their officers and stuff. Did you see that?
What is it?
That was him in his thing, yeah. One that, Jared.
What was it?
I'll tell you when we aren't on TV. But they've got their chairman, they got their secretary, they've got their treasurer, and so they're gonna term them out. We could skip that and go to the next one.
Yeah. Show rule.
What's that?
We could skip that while she's going to get that and go to streetscapes.
Okay, let's go to number 4 instead of downtown. Number 4 is to hire Dustin Shawcross and Mason Maitland as part-time police officers at $27.42 per hour.
I think that's what the part-time police officers are getting here, I think that's in their contract.
Yep.
But I don't know how you guys feel, but I haven't met this Dustin yet. I don't know who the other guy is, but people out on the street talk highly of this Dustin. I mean, I'm hearing compliments.
What
I've
does
met,
Josh think about him?
Josh really likes
I've met Dustin,
yeah,
and I've received
compliments.
7, 8 phone calls that he is a very super nice
Stops and talks to
police
people.
officer.
Yeah.
Wait, so we've hired him already,
Yeah,
Yes.
unofficially?
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Both
because-
of them?
Yes, because
Maitland?
Josh was, kinda shorthanded because the sheriffs wouldn't allow people to work here with the COVID. So.
So there's 2 of them we wanna hire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
part-time.
it's Justin Shawcross, he was part of the 4 people that got laid off at the City of Watertown Police Department. So, and he jumped in and filled our part-time.
Yeah, so he'll.
I work with his father-in-law at the prison. He's a good kid.
I make a
Okay.
motion, we hire these 2 guys.
I do too.
I think we.
Second.
Okay, number 4. Motion by trustee Millet, second by trustee DeRigo to hire both police officers. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And that fills our roster, because,
Yeah.
that's how many our contract reads we have to have. We jumped ahead one, Molly.
Okay. It's supposed to be the Village Fair Housing Officer, is in one of our local laws, number 5 of 1991, it's stating, that's the position that I believe the village,
What does the person do?
Well, kinda attends all the meetings that they have at Gordon's Court. And if they want to talk to somebody that they don't get along with somebody in the committee, you know, that we have the committee there, and they can come talk to the person.
I make a motion, we make Chucky.
I mean,
Seeing he's done everything.
I'll do it, because,
All right.
I mean, I stop in there
Yeah,
at
that's,
least
you're
once
the
a
one
week.
that, you know what's going on over there,
Yeah,
you should be there.
once a week I'm in there. I was
Okay.
there today, sat down and.
That gotta be a motion?
yeah.
I make a motion, we make Chucky as the, representing the village for, Gordon Courts.
I'll second. I was gonna ask you, sure you want it?
Yeah, I do. I like going over there and visiting.
Motion by trustee DeRigo, second
I
by
can't
trustee
vote on
Palmer
that.
to appoint trustee Millet as the rep for representing Gordon Court. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I think even Jared's been talking to them over there. It's really changed a lot over there.
They're nice up there. I go over with Rotary, or for Rotary, and I don't think they were being tended to properly before.
They said things have changed so much over there. They're real happy.
Yeah.
Five.
Number 3, downtown
Oh.
street improvement.
Is that supposed to be streetscape, or is this something different?
This is different.
Okay, good.
This is,
Go ahead.
this is monies from the town.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
10,000.
If we use the 10 from last year.
This is
I took it
set
all.
basically
I got it.
from Front Suite and the town board and Pat Simpson, former mayor. Back in 2002,
Oh, I know.
the upper James Street area was cordoned off and streetscaped with trees, benches. There's all kinds of pictures from, anybody wanna see
I already
it?
looked at it.
I do.
You've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen them. I
Yeah,
got one.
I remember.
How, did you ever go down and talk to any of the people down there at that end to see how it was?
I haven't seen anybody from Coleman's yet, and I know Garlock's against it, closing it off.
I worked there at the time, so and I'm not giving an opinion, I'm just saying, really need to think about,
The people.
deliveries, okay? When we had the liquor store, it was very, very impassable. And the one big planter that was right in front of the docks made it very, very hard for ambulances and people to unload and things. I mean, it could be a different scenario, things could be changed. And I watered the trees every day.
Well, I don't see putting something in that you have to take out in the wintertime. To me, that's, if you're gonna do something, figure out through streetscape how to do some decorative plants or pots somewhere. But I don't agree with putting it in and then having to take it out so you can plow around it.
I think that I don't think they want it designed exactly the same way as it is.
Okay.
I think they only want to use one side of the road or the other side of the road or something like that and keep it on one side. I don't know, but I don't think, maybe it's something that somebody wants to be on a committee and meet with these guys and meet with the people that are downtown and go from there. I think that you've got to get the people that are at that end of the street
Involved.
involved in it, because there's not one person involved in it that's at that end of the street.
Right, but what is the town giving us, or what is the town saying?
I think they want to pay for it.
So does the town wanna give us $10,000 to improve downtown streets, or do they wanna give us $10,000 to do this? Because I don't think closing off the street permanently is a good idea, because we're already down parking spots. All you hear about is how nobody can park, and that's a busy end of the street when you, between pickup, like picking up food at the 2 restaurants at the end, and turning around there
I think somebody's gotta visit with the business people now.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think if you're gonna even consider, something like that should tie in with streetscape. And then you get those people involved, and, you know, there's a way to put planters, if you then read the comprehensive plan, there's way to put, you know, that is wide enough right there at Church and James on the corner where you can bring it out a little bit and put a tree with some flowers around it, and you can still have, you know, draw a line down the road, and you can still have, you know, traffic in and out. But I don't know that that's the place to shut it down. I really don't. You know, I would rather see if we have leftover money somewhere by the corner and turn it into the village square where you have tables and chairs and things, if we could do that, rather than close down that street. I mean, I don't even think it's a good idea to put tents there and close off that street when we do that. It's not fair to those businesses and the people that live right there.
Well, I think if we're gonna put all this money that we are into the park, up to the village park, you know, with, the wharf down there and all this other stuff, why can't we start pulling them up there?
Well, when we were talking about, you know, putting the tents downtown before, I know when I was docked, you know, you know, if this is the start of the dock, the tent is like 5
Not even.
feet away.
Not even.
And
Right.
people, you have no idea how many people complain. Well, maybe you do. They call the office, because I would say, call the office, nothing we can do about it. You know, but then you're blocking your docks and your,
Who's the letter from?
Brent Sweet and Patrick Simpson.
Okay, so what they really show us is everything that was down there before.
Yes.
Right, just old
But they really
pictures.
don't have really a plan what they want down there anyway, right?
well, I don't think we can take this as a separate,
Right.
another plan. I think we need to have them, maybe at some point, we're gonna say, okay, this is where we are with streetscape, this is what's gonna happen downtown. You know, if we're running out of some money to decorate down there, maybe the town will kick in $10,000, but I think officially, if the town wants to really do this, a letter should go from the town and the village asking everybody that's on that street and that lives up in those apartments and the hospital there, how they feel about closing down that street permanently.
Yeah, because it would be permanent.
And I don't think it's fair.
You know,
I'd volunteer to talk with the town about
Permit
this.
fee, shutting it down.
Well, you know,
I-
why don't we do this then? You know, why don't we do it at the other end of James Street and
Yeah.
see how those people feel?
Well, we know how those people feel,
Well,
Great.
because they're the ones who are.
You know, we
do it at
spent-
the other end.
how much money did we spend to build the pavilion? I have no clue.
Probably
just the
not.
roof, I know,
What's the roof?
about $1 million.
So what it cost, $3 million to build it, $2 million?
Because of the door.
I think.
Yeah, to have those little gables put up in the top and new metal on it one time was $1 million.
Well,
Mhm.
you
Somebody
and
did
I-
it for about 200,000.
We've talked about it, that why put that tent down there when you spend all that money on the pavilion?
With everything canceled, you know, I mean, there's really no reason to do anything down there this year. Anyway, with
Not this year.
streetscape, with
No, we shouldn't.
streetscape starting,
Yeah, it
I
should
mean,
be
Something to
somehow,
look in for
we've
down
got
the
a
road
committee
here.
for streetscape, and it's some town people and some village, and then there's a part in there, when we open it up to the public.
right, we have
It's
meetings.
a different phase, I didn't bring the paper, but I
I
think
didn't bring it
it's
either.
phase 5 or phase 6 out of 21, and that's where it brings in the whole
Public, and that's
downtown
when
village,
those
and not
people
just
should
those
be
people
involved.
down there, even the people on the other side of Route 12. I mean, it's for everybody, not just downtown people, to do an opinion, and I think that's when we gotta do it in there. No,
Right.
you?
But you're really impacting negatively those businesses and people on that section of town, because we wanna have it open when we have a perfectly good facility that all of these people voted to build years ago, right? Who, you know, so
I would imagine.
I would think that we should encourage everybody to go up to the pavilion. Yes, it needs beautification, but that's what the streetscape is all about.
I think that, I don't think that's something that's gonna get done this year anyway.
No.
You know, I mean, any way we look at it, because we're right in the middle of it, or we're not in the middle, but we're starting a streetscape, so, you know, we gotta tie everything together.
I would forward that paperwork to, the streetscape person, and somehow it gets worked into streetscape if we feel it can be done. But I don't think it's a good idea to close down the street. How many parking spaces you gonna lose? 8, 9, 10, 12 spaces down there?
Well, I know that they only wanted to take it up to wherever Kathy's Coffee
Right,
Pot
but you have
is.
to let them out of the parking lot.
Well, not to that parking lot, stop
Right.
before that. And then they wanted to change them, other ones that are in on an angle, they wanted to change them to the flat, which would cut down on more parking.
Oh,
Right on the upper
Yeah.
games. So you'd only have 2, maybe 3 places down through there, so you'd lose probably closer to 12 spots, I would think.
I'm into beautification, but not to closing down the street. Unless those people down there agree to it, otherwise,
Well, and that's the whole thing, nobody's talked to them. You know,
officially,
right,
Officially.
And the hospital is out of that building now,
right,
so they are.
yeah.
so Morocco is gonna be.
He's gonna rent that, so.
Mhm.
So,
Number 5 is jail, jail excavation,
Abstract number 11.
abstract number 11 for $58,357.
I'll make a
Authorize the
motion
mayor
that
to
the
sign
mayor
it.
sign it.
This is the final, right?
This
I'll
is
second
last
it.
payment. Motion by trustee Burke,
He seconded.
he second by trustee Millet, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ready to sign permit? Because the chamber holds their meetings the night before we have our meeting, I was called and asked if they could entertain doing Rock in the Bay August 28th and 29th, having a band on Casino Island and having the musicians play to boaters. They would, like to start at 6:30 and at 9:30.
Ooh,
Or if we said earlier times, they also said that they would hire security to keep only the musicians on the island, and they would hire to have somebody clean up the park afterwards.
well, the only thing is with the bands down there next to the river on Casino Island, if you call Josh, our village police officer, he got called to Swan Bay Beach Club, I don't know how many times this weekend, which isn't even in his jurisdiction as the village up there, because the bands were playing at the pools, and the people on the river were complaining because they were playing from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. And they're going to the village board to complain about it, so
Going
something
to
you
the
may wanna think
Town
about.
board.
Or town board, I mean,
Yeah, they're not here.
complain about it. Well, first they came here.
Well,
Okay, so, but they're only doing this for boaters. They're not going to encourage people to sit in the park or at the pavilion
yeah,
or,
right.
So if they're gonna set the boats, how loud's the music gonna be?
and who's gonna be keeping the people out of the park and the pavilion land and all that, to stop all that, so you don't have gathering there?
I can make it real easy, there's not enough electricity over there.
There you go.
There's
I guess.
nowhere near,
Okay.
not even close enough electricity.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm doing.
Electric guitar.
So, I mean, there's one outlet.
Who presented this
Okay,
letter to us?
there that.
Critter, call me.
If they wanna run a generator, but,
Then the music would have to be
The thing is,
louder.
too,
I'm just saying, there's
Do you
just not
imagine-
Don't
enough,
complain about the generator running.
so.
And then.
Well, the generators don't make much noise if they get the right
If
one.
they get going, but the
That's
thing
if we
is-
get over it.
you're probably gonna, if people find out about this, all the boaters, you get 150 boaters out there, they're just gonna flag the whole center of that channel up.
Yeah,
Well, that's just like, the fireworks night, that's not the problem. The bigger problem I see is having people on land coming to watch it
Yeah.
or listen.
Well, like they said, they were gonna hire their own people to monitor that, but
Hire their own people to keep them off the island.
To keep them
not
off the
monitor
sand.
the
Keep
rest
them off
of
the
whole
island.
village.
Well, like I say, there's not enough
Boy.
electricity, so,
in August, it'll be dark by close to 9 o'clock, it'll be
Yeah.
dark.
What did you say, 7?
7:34. I looked up the time today. I was just concerned with it being dark at night, during that, and we looked up that what would be August
Sunset.
30th, what would be sunset, and I think it was 7:34.
Yep.
It's good to move all those boats out there like that.
oh, I know.
What, gotta be.
So we need a motion to disapprove. Or
Well,
not.
what are the COVID rules gonna be then? We don't know anything yet. What's the largest group that can be together at this point? 50 still?
And if you notice, you know, New York State adds another state to our list like every day.
People can, 19
have
More
states.
today.
We had our
Yeah,
biggest
4 more
number
today.
today.
4 more today.
I
Our
mean, we're
biggest
not letting
number.
anyone with the cooties in, but
Today.
I can't imagine that our numbers will start climbing.
We are climbing,
Eight
we're at
today.
100 and,
Eight.
8 more, so what are we at?
8 new ones
And
today.
that, you're talking a couple
Today.
days
So
before.
what are we at,
school
124 now?
start,
Something like that? We are going up every week, 5 or 6 now.
Well, yeah, we have to, because look at all the cars with all their New Jersey plates going 40 and a freaking 55. So,
I don't know how you can do it.
with that motion.
I wish there was something you can do though, because people are getting really to the point that there's nothing for them to do.
How about if we, have them come up with a different plan?
What's the difference?
What would the other plan be? And we'd still be, other than electricity, still questioning
I mean,
the number of
they can't go out there because we got no electricity, so,
But they
Well,
can't be
there's
anywhere,
electricity, but not enough.
not enough.
but they can't be on mainland
Yeah.
because you can't have large groups. So, I don't know that I don't even think we have
I'll
to
make a
vote.
motion, we deny the request.
I'll second it. But
Motion by trustee Hurt, second by trustee Palmer, to deny the request. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm gonna say that I'd like them to come up with a different plan, see if there's anything.
There was a motion on the table, yay or nay it.
No.
No.
Motion carried.
Are you for it, or are you
Yeah.
nay, Shucky?
One for it. I'd just like to see something different though, maybe a pavilion or something.
Well, they can, there's nothing, just because we voted no on this, doesn't mean they can't come back to us and say, we're going to police the street and we'll have one person every 10 feet and then we'll have music. But how are they gonna realistically do it?
Just,
Wait, I just want to say one more thing. Just like with it's not that I'm against doing any of this stuff, but I said to somebody else earlier at the chamber, with the fireworks and some of these other things they want to do, tell us how you're going to safely do it that meets all of the governor's rules, and I don't think we'd have a problem. But that's not where we are. So come back with another plan. Tell me how you want to do it safely, because I understand it's good for people's morale. People need somewhere to go, and it's good for the businesses. Because you will have people walking around town and sitting there to listen to this music. So tell us how it would safely work. I mean, realistically.
Right. It's just a tough year.
All the way
It is a
around.
tough year.
It's everywhere, there's states like 1,000 times worse than us.
That's what I'm saying, it's a tough year.
I know this is your department, that they put it in my package for tonight. This has to do with the low lift, pump motor down at the water plant over the weekend.
Yeah, they said 4,500 each. We have
So-
to do the second one.
So Pat gave us a letter. On 7/8/2020, we had one of our low lift, pumps trip on power fail. After all attempts to restore, he called it P&T Supply from Watertown, and they came up the next morning. After testing, they found that the motor was shorting out, causing it to fail. No choice, we had to order a new motor. 714, Supply installed the new motor. They tested the other low lift motor and advised us to replace it ASAP. Estimated price for the motor is $3,000, labor is $1,500. The second motor has been ordered and will be installed soon, at the same price, so the total estimate is $9,000. Both low lifts were installed in 2009, have a combined flow total of 873,788,000 gallons.
Yeah, I spoke to Pat, he called me.
And I'll tell you, we had all them fires, and then they had a water break over in Redwood, and we only had one pump, and it shorted out because the other one was gone.
Yeah.
So, we could've been in real big trouble. So if that's gotta be a motion on the floor, I know we need them, so I make a motion, we get them.
I'll second.
We get them both, and if it's possible, the one that was shorting out, I think maybe they might be looking at that to see if they can repair it, so we got a backup.
So I talked to Ron, he's part owner in the company, he's real sharp, and he had said, for how small they are, and I'll tell you guys, they look actually like, they look like a submersible pump, they're about this big around, they stand about this tall. He said it's just as cheap to buy a new one.
Oh, okay.
He said by the time you send them out, what happens in them is that the pump in the bottom, there's a bearing, and what happens is every time they kick on, they jump. So all these years when they jump, every time they come back down. Well, what happens is the fin, actually, there's nothing left in it, hits the bottom. So the casing's shot, the fins are shot, they're just done. So,
We're lucky that we didn't, the second one didn't go down, 'cause how long would it have taken to not have water?
we were already at that point.
I mean, I was
On
instructed to
Sunday.
call him if I opened my faucet and there's no water.
Since the wet well had tripped out because there was no water being put in by the low lifts. So at 5 feet, so there's 130,000 gallons on the floor. When the high lifts pump them out, at 5 feet, they'll shut off. So that wet well was dry. And then the towers were down below their 85 feet. When we figured out that the second one had tripped out on Sunday morning, so.
Okay, good thing it's the beginning of the budget year. There's lots of money in there.
So
Well,
I believe
that's water, that's.
within this new project, I believe, me and Pat were talking, that if we were to, inside the plant, when the floor comes up, for flooding, they're gonna cut in the T with a fire adapter. So what the fire truck could potentially do if this was to ever happen again, because there was no way we were gonna get water to anyway.
Yeah, we're
They
lucky.
could put their suction in the wet well, which still draws from the channel,
Mhm.
and they were just to hook their line to this, and it would still go to our filter system, to our
Sounds like a good
chlorinators.
plan.
So I believe this is part of the upgrade at the water plant.
So motion by trustee Millet, second by trustee Yurt, to proceed with the new pumps. All in favor?
I-
Opposed?
It was Fulmer who seconded it.
Trustee Fulmer, my mistake. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anything else? Public concerns? Give a moment for the public to call 482-9902.
If I could just make another comment, along with that, just for the water plant, along with looking at equipment, like vehicles and other equipment this coming budget year, we need to take a look at our asset management plan and look at other things like that, that we know haven't been replaced and probably shouldn't be redone, and, you know, it's time to painfully bring the village into the future and do some of the maintenance that hasn't been done in years. Capital improvement.
public concerns? Anything else?
Just one thing. Just wanted to tell everybody that sales tax, I got the sales tax report today. And remember, we were speculating sales tax to be down 50%. That's what we figured in the budget. We're down sales tax was down 13.55. This
For
quarter,
us,
for this quarter, so we
Okay.
did well. Figuring that 50% has saved us a lot. I made copies for you if everyone wants copies.
great, and that's, with that also, everybody needs to keep in mind all of those things that we said we weren't gonna spend on,
Yep.
so,
Right now, we're only off by about $5,000 compared to last year, which isn't really that bad.
No, considering everything, yep.
But remember, they said a lot of it has to do with stimulus.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be a little worse next month, or next quarter. Well, no public comments, I make a motion, we gotta go to
Yeah.
an executive?
Executive, yeah, right?
Motion to go to
Do you have
executive?
executive?
I don't.
You have executive? Anybody got executive? You got
Yeah.
executive? Anybody? I don't. You?
You don't want to talk about?
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, all right, you got
Yeah.
executive.
You,
Make a motion to go into
I made a
executive.
motion, yeah.
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Reno, second by,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
motion by
topic.
trustee Miller, second by
Let's have a
trustee
topic
Reno.
for,
Topic 4,
Personnel.
Is there anything
who did that, I'm sorry?
I'm gonna
Motion by
say,
trustee Millet, second by
where did
trustee
you get
Reno.
this from?
Get it off the website.
Oh.
Uh,